First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zengkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. Homage to Master Dubden Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar, and homage to the main deity of Homa today, the Golden Mother of the primordial Jitpan. The golden colored Golden Mother, the black colored Golden Mother, the transforming Golden Mother, and the tiger head Vajra. And the holy attendants Dong Shuan Chen and Xu Hui Chung. Homage to all the retinues of Golden Mother. Sư母, Tan Zhen Katso, Tuten City, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples over the internet. Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do?
你好，大家好。应该在亚洲一带呢。
In Asia,
清晨
should be early morning.
大家早安。大家早。
Good morning, everyone.
愛してる。
愛してる、사랑해.
Hola, amigo.
Hola, amigo.
Te quiero mucho.
Te quiero mucho.
すごい。
すごい。
一番。
一番。
気持ちいい。
気持ちいい。チュミ。
やび。
やび。
プリンプリン。
プリンプリン。
こんにちは。沙乌吉，巴西。
Saudi from Brazil.
Ah, 大家好。现在呢，通知大家。
Now I would like to announce for next Sunday, May 31st.
下午3点 PM.
In the
那么在
afternoon.
山庄呢，要做马头明王护摩。马头明王护摩。
At the Rainbow Temple, we will perform the Hayagriva Homa fire offering ceremony.
是很大的一个护法，非常大的一个护法。
So we can say that Hayagriva
我们如果去
is extremely
你买那个
great
金刚诀，或者是
protector. So if we buy the Vajra Purva or Vajra scepter, sometimes they would carve a horse head on top. So that shows that's the Hayagriva scepter or Purva Dorji. So whether in Tibetan Tantrayana or Japanese Tantrayana, there are many people practicing the Hayagriva. And the most important Dharma power is in the teeth of the horse. And his mudra is like this. The mudra, this is the mudra of Hayagriva, the horse head wisdom king, the mantra. There are two she in it. Om se Bhamataji Hayagriva se Om pe. The first she is to sweep away all evil, and the other she showed his origin. And she is the origin, the original ground of Amitabha Buddha. So Hayagriva is related to Buddha Amitabha. That was his mantra. And his look or appearance is red. He belongs to the red and looks really ferocious and wrathful. Hayagriva's Dharma power is in his teeth. So this deity is extremely wrathful, ferocious and fierce. So he can subjugate all enemies and enmities, and also to subjugate all kinds of karma and calamities. So that's the announcement. And Hayagriva can be can become one's root protector or the yidam for protection. Today, we will continue on the question and answer. The first question: if a true Buddha disciple have practiced Homa for above 1,000 times, do they need to perform the great mandala offering for 100,000 times? Let me tell you that Homa, fire offering ceremony, is considered to be a humongous offering. The typical Mahayana offering is just lit 3 sticks of incense. But in Tantrayana, the fire offering, we put in very precious ingredients, many of them. So we can say that one sadhana of Homa is the same as 1,000 times of the ordinary offerings in Mahayana Buddhism. Therefore, the tantric Homa is extremely superior. So Sakyamuni Buddha truly comprehended Homa fire offering ceremony and allowed his disciples to practice Homa fire offering ceremony in the era of the Buddha Sakyamuni. And about the mandala offering for 100,000 times is something that you have to do during your preliminary practices. Although they were not Homa, but it's still an offering practice to offer above to the 4 holy realms and below to the 6 rebirth realms. So offering above to the 4 Sichli realms and below to the 6 rebirth realms. So the great mandala offering is to offer to the 10 Dharma realms. However, the Homa fire offering is the single-minded offering. Like this time, in performing this Homa, there is a main deity for the Homa. Which deity you want to offer to, and there is a function to it. So that's Homa. However, universal offering, great mandala offering, is offering universally to all 10 Dharma realms. That's the mandala offering. So when you practice the 4 preliminaries or the 4 fundamental practices, you have to perform Homa to replace mandala offering, and you cannot use mandala offering to replace Homa. Mandala offering is a universal offering to reach the 4 holy realms above and to reach the 6 rebirth realms below. That's mandala offering for the 10 Dharma realms. And Homa fire offering, it's focusing on one deity or many deities. Like just now, Golden Mother and all of Golden Mother's assembly or retinue, like the Golden Fist Golden Mother, Black Fist Golden Mother, the Transformation Body Golden Mother, Tiger Head Vajra, and their retinues and their attendants like Dong Shuangchen and Xu Huichong. So they are specific. Therefore, mandala offering and fire offering are different, so you have to do both. That's the answer for the first one. You cannot use fire offering to replace mandala offering, because mandala represents the 10 Dharma realms, offering to the 10 Dharma realms. And fire offering is different. And the second question, if Grandmaster has confirmed that a true Buddha practitioner has gained enlightenment and has the true understanding of the mind, is it true that he does not need to study the Tripitaka anymore? Instead, he could just grasp the heart teaching of the enlightenment and put it into practice to benefit himself and other beings. Is this correct? Wrong. It's wrong. This is wrong. This statement is wrong. This concept is wrong. You want to gain enlightenment and have true understanding of the mind, that you have to have wisdom first in order to have the true understanding of the mind and see the Buddha nature. And you have to have the meditative stability. So you have to have both wisdom and meditative stability. Without wisdom, that you would not be able to gain enlightenment, like a country bumpkin would not be able without wisdom. You would think that the sixth patriarch Huineng did not study that he could gain enlightenment. However, he understood the statement in the Diamond Sutra that because it is non-dwelling, therefore the mind arises from the non-dwelling. That's very profound. That's the dharma of non-action in the Diamond Sutra. Therefore, you have to have wisdom. Don't undermine the sixth patriarch Huineng for not going to school. But in his past lives, he had studied and mastered the Tripitaka. So although he did not go to school in this life, his wisdom stayed with him. Because without wisdom and without meditative stability, it's absolutely impossible to gain enlightenment. So, for those who claim to be enlightened, although Grandmaster may affirm it, however, they have lots of attachments, they have lots of afflictions. So they have both afflictions and attachments, and lots of bad habits, bad or evil habitual tendencies. Then they have to dispel or let go the attachments, afflictions, and all the bad habitual tendencies. It's not the case that you have gained enlightenment and then you put it into practice. What is it that you want to practice? Is to eradicate your afflictions, eradicate your attachments, then you eradicate all of your bad habitual tendencies. That's putting it into practice. Many enlightened ones did not eradicate their afflictions, their attachments, and their bad habitual tendencies, then the enlightenment is annihilated. Although you understand conceptually, however, you have not succeeded in your practice. You have not reached the state of meditative stability. Once someone asks, why? How come the beings who have reached the Western paradise do not come back, do not return? Because in order to reach the Pure Land, you have to have single-mindedness and also meditative stability. Then you don't return. Otherwise, without it, you will return. Because wisdom and meditative stability are the two wings of the bird. So these two things are required for you to have attainments. And the Tripitaka is wisdom. If you never study the Tripitaka, where did your wisdom, meditative stability come from then? How could you be enlightened? And from wisdom, you can generate the meditative stability, and from the meditative stability, you can generate wisdom. Therefore, you have to have wisdom. You have to have meditative stability in order to have the true understanding of the mind and seeing the nature. So you have to have the wisdom and then to generate the meditative stability. So saying that once you have the true understanding of the mind and seeing of the Buddha nature, then you don't need to study. the Tripitaka anymore. Of course, it's not easy to understand Tripitaka. Basically, you have to understand things about spiritual cultivation. You have to learn it. So saying that you don't need the Tripitaka, that's wrong. That's a wrong statement. Without wisdom, it's impossible to be enlightened. Therefore, Grandmaster has read many, many sutras. This is very crucial, important. So this is wrong. This statement was wrong, that you don't need to study the Tripitaka, and then you can have the true understanding of the mind and seeing the nature. No, that's wrong. Where did they come from? Where did the true understanding of the mind and seeing the Buddha nature come from? From the Tripitaka. Without the foundation, how can you gain enlightenment? The third point, Grandmaster, do you have a set of criteria to determine whether a true Buddha cultivator has or has not been enlightened, so that fellow disciples can distinguish it, if the enlightenment is true or false, in order to prevent frauds and inappropriate veneration? Please be compassionate and teach us. Grandmaster. You know, in order to determine if someone has seen the true understanding of the Buddha nature or seen the Buddha true understanding of the mind and seen the Buddha nature, it's very easy. Just check if he or she is truly respectful and reverent toward their lineage root guru. In Tantric Buddhism, your respect and reverence toward your lineage root guru is very easy to discern. There are many ways to determine. If they are totally disrespectful toward their lineage root guru, then they don't have the qualifications to even cultivate spiritually. How could they have enlightenment? Impossible. Bullshit. Doesn't matter whether it's in Mahayana Buddhism or Tantrayana Buddhism. It's the same. If you undermine or look down upon your lineage root guru or toward your guru, then you're already very arrogant. How could you be enlightened? How could you be enlightened? That's your mother good. That's not like a spiritual cultivator. Someone that's full of it or arrogant, it's not spiritual cultivator. They are already in hell. So, in spiritual cultivation, we should remember the source of everything, the source of the water that we drink. Like Grandmaster toward his gurus, never argue, never reprimand or criticize your gurus. The gurus can criticize me, but not you criticizes your gurus. When the guru criticizes me, that means he's teaching me. You cannot argue or reason with him. If you think you have enlightened and you become haughty and arrogant and you think you're greater than your guru, how could there That's just one example. If the enlightened, quote-unquote, one is disrespectful toward his own guru, then he's already fallen into the Vajra hell. And if he thinks he's superior, that's no good. Inappropriate admiration or veneration and creating frauds. Of course, enlightenment can be true or false. If it's a true enlightenment, then all your conduct, behavior, and performance would comply to the right Dharma. You have the right mind and the right Dharma. So you have to be clear about this. And the other thing, the enlightened one will never fight, will never argue, and will never be greedy. Why? Because if you're truly enlightened, then you have no self. Then what are you fighting about? You're fighting and arguing back and forth. That's definitely not enlightenment. That's fake. And the enlightened one is, of course, has no greed because he has no self. He's never for himself. He's only for sentient beings. There's no self, no ego, no self. Then there's no selfishness anymore. I want something to benefit myself and you don't care about others. No, you help sentient beings instead. You're not helping yourself, you're helping sentient beings, you're helping others. Look at the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, Pratyeka Buddhas and Arhats. The four holy realms have no self. If you are truly enlightened, you're for the sake of sentient beings, you generate bodhicitta. You're never for yourself. And yet you're still greedy. And you still get angry, lose your temper. Those will not exist anymore, because when you lose your temper, that means there's still self. If you are still greedy or have desires, there's still self. Or if you're stupid or foolish, you have no wisdom. Or if you're envious or jealous, that's because there's self. You have to practice until there's no more envy nor jealousy. Why? Because there is no self. This is the key point, a crucial key point. No self. So about enlightenment, you can tell very easily if it is a real one or fake one, or a bull. You can tell. The next question, Grandmaster, Ushina Vijaya's mantra, heart mantra, and dharani or incantation, what is the difference? So for mantra, the long mantra, short mantra, heart mantra, long mantra, medium mantra, short mantra, heart mantra, or the karma mantra, all have the same merits. I have said that before. Like the one syllable mantra, Om Brum. Om Brum. That's one syllable mantra. Heart mantra. Both heart mantra and short mantra have merits. If you have time for your Dharma practice, you can chant the long mantra. If you have just a normal time, you chant the medium mantra. If you have short time, you chant the short mantra, heart mantra. All have the same merits, no different.
没有分别的，不能够分别长咒、中咒、短咒、心咒。
You cannot differentiate between the long mantra, medium mantra, short mantra, heart mantra, and the karma mantra.
再来一个问题。
Charya
师尊于上次救瘟疫度母法会上提到。
In the last ceremony of Tara who dispels epidemics, Grandmaster mentioned that it's possible in a 1-hour period to perform numerous great offerings. I have not quite understand the details and procedure. Please explain.
在进行此大供养法时，需要先亲近、招请。
In performing this great offering, should I first purify, invoke, and perform prostrations? Yes, you should. When you perform the great mandala offering, you first purify, invoke, and prostrate. And the procedure is to first place the rice on the mandala plate, form the offering mudra, recite the offering verse and mantra, and then form the sword mudra to point at the mandala plate while performing visualization. This is correct. First, you should visualize and then chant the mantra. First visualize and then chant mantra. So the offering verse and mantra So forming the offering mudra, chanting the offering verse and mantra should be after the visualization. In tantric practices, it's a very clear rule to first visualize and then chant the mantra. In all of our practice procedures, we always visualize first and then chant mantra, not the other way around. Always visualize first and then chant the mantra. For the second point, visualize first and then chant the mantra. Third, in the visualization, first we visualize the mandala plate as the universe. Does it mean we visualize the rice to multiply to fill the whole cosmic space and universe as an offering to the 10 Dharma realms? Or do we visualize the rice to transform into all kinds of food, precious items, and things that we like as offerings to the Dharma realms? You visualize the mandala plate as the whole universe. And then you visualize the rice to fill the whole cosmic space and universe. Or visualize the rice to transform into all kinds of food, precious items, and things we like as offerings to the 10 Dharma realms. First, you visualize the mandala plate as the universe. Second, you visualize the rice to fill the whole cosmic space and universe as offering to the 10 Dharma realms. And the third visualization is to transform the rice into all kinds of food, precious items, and things that we like as the offering to the 10 Dharma realms. That's the third visualization. After you finish the visualization, you form the offering mudra and recite the offering verse and mantra. That would be correct. Point number 4. After completing several sets of the above procedure, should we perform merit dedication? Yes, you have to perform merit dedication.
回向什么？你想回向什么？
And you dedicate the merit to whatever you want.
因为你供养就有功德。
There's merit in performing the offering. And then you dedicate the merit of the offering to whatever you want. That'll be fine. And some people dedicate the merit of the offering to be reborn into the pure Buddha land in the future. At the dying moment, to be reborn into the Western paradise, Pure Land. That's your merit dedication. Or you can dedicate the merit to the success of your career, to a perfect marriage, to the resolution of your lawsuit, to a promotion and salary increase, or for harmony among people. You can make all of or any of the above merit dedication, or to eradicate your own obstacles and hindrances, or to have your karmic sicknesses be eradicated. Any of them is fine. So you do need to perform merit dedication. A asks B, why, when we are fighting, we want to take our shirt off and have a bare chest and be answered? Because if they take off the pants instead of the shirt, that would be weird. So fighting is very mundane. Spiritual cultivators don't fight, because fighting, they self, because you fight for yourself, for the sake of yourself. That's why you argue for the sake of yourself. That's why we don't want to fight with other people, to fight or argue with other people. So that's the performance of your spiritual cultivation. So that's kind of like the self-cultivation or the virtue that you have from spiritual cultivation. You don't argue and fight. So when you fight, you take off your shirt, because nobody is taking off their pants before they fight. What kind of man is the most lovable and the highest standard? The answer is this: although they like money, but they use the proper means. Although they love sexes, but they have class, they have taste. They are educated and knowledgeable, and also studious, and also elegant. So even when they drink, it's measured, not going over. And even when they're joking, it's very appropriate. And they can withstand temptations and can also stand a loneliness. They don't create troubles, but when they encounter problems, they are not afraid of it. And outside, they're holding the forth, and at home, they can endure any kind of naggings and beatings. However, the conclusion is no such person existed. How come no such person exists? Because a human being always have karma and always have flaws. Born as a human being, we have karma and flaws. So, for spiritual cultivators, sometimes when we observe someone, we know that they have flaws and weaknesses, and we forgive them. Be empathetic and sympathetic toward them, forgive them and help them. Because all human beings have flaws and weaknesses. The wife asked the husband, "Honey, do you love me?" The husband said, "Yeah." And the wife asked again, the same question. "So if your mom and I fell into the water, whom would you save?" And the husband asked her back, "But do you love me?" And the wife said, "Sure, I love you." And the husband said, "If you love me, don't ask such question." And the wife said, "But if I don't love you?" The wife said, "Then why would I want to save you?" That's an issue of logic. Now let's talk about Lamdre. What are the 5 paths? The outer form of the merit accumulation path, including the 4 paths of merit accumulation, are the 4 kinds of paths of the 4 kinds of empowerments. By relying on its accumulation, one sees the cause of the spiritual experience of the wisdom of the warmth phenomena in the verse due to the path of the merit accumulation. So in our spiritual cultivation, we first have to practice the merit accumulation path. And what is it? Like the Tzu Chi, as we all know, and also Seng Yen Lu Foundation, or the Lotus Light Charity Society. What they're doing is on the merit accumulation path. The merit accumulation path is the foundation of spiritual cultivation. Without accumulating all these merits, you will not develop the 4 kinds of empowerments. If you have never practiced the merit accumulation path, you will not be able to encounter a true and real guru who will teach you the Buddha Dharma. You will not meet the true and real guru. Therefore, in our spiritual cultivation, we have to first practice the merit accumulation path. And what are they? Like Tzu Chi Foundation, Seng Yen Lu Foundation, Lotus Light Charity Society. If you participate in those, then you are accumulating your merits. All the attainments, all your future attainments from your spiritual cultivation rely the foundation of all your future attainments of your spiritual cultivations is in the merit accumulation path. The outer form of the merit accumulation path are the 4 paths of the merit accumulation, and they are the 4 kinds of paths for the 4 kinds of empowerments. By relying on its accumulation, one sees the cause of spiritual experience of the wisdom of the warmth phenomena. So due to the merit of merit, the verse due to the path of merit accumulation. Without the merit accumulation path, if you don't have any merits, and without merits, how can you cultivate spiritually? You have to gather the merits first in order to cultivate spiritually. If you have no merits whatsoever on you, it would be impossible for you to encounter the best kind of guru. It's impossible for you to encounter favorable people who help you. It'll be impossible for you to have good affinity. It would be impossible for you to meet favorable people. It will be impossible for you to encounter good spiritual cultivation companion to help you. Therefore, the merit accumulation path is the most important foundation of all Buddhist cultivation. Therefore, we have to be kind, compassion, love. We have to have kindness, compassion, love. Then by having love and compassion, you complete your merit accumulation path. In Lamdre, it said, because you have compassion and love, you perfect your merit accumulation path. And then in the future, there would be many favorable people and your guru teaching you the good Buddha Dharma. Next, warmth. From practicing the 4 paths, 4 realizations arise, and they are called the wisdom of the warmth of the preliminary path. It is divided into 3 kinds, large, medium, and small kinds of warmth. 1. Discernment easily generated, referred as the warmth of discernment of the preliminary practice, that's small. 2. 3 discernments difficult to generate, referred as the assimilated warmth of the accumulation of the 9 areas, that's medium. 3. Discernment extremely difficult to generate, referred as the accumulated warmth due to the increase of light drops, that's large. By relying on the above 3, the spiritual experiences of the warmth phenomena of the 3 accumulation periods are strengthened. At the basic position, the spiritual experience of the dual execution of visualizing and stopping exceeds a period of 1 sitting, or during the latter position, the external environment will not be an obstacle. Extremely strong means grasping the maximum or to the extreme of the initial accumulation period, which is the wisdom of the small warmth of the path of the preliminary practice. During the middling accumulation period, all the warmth generated is medium. Its circumstance is strong and can stop all the external and internal critters to obtain the meditative possibility of not falling into the lower realms and mindfulness of faith. In other sutras, it is also referred as the position of endurance. And during the latter accumulation period, all the warmth generated is large. By the 3 starts of affinity of the area ambrosia, everything that is arisen follows the 6 natural mindfulness. It is regarded as the start of affinity to see the transformation body, and definitely it will promote the main goal. The above is the 3 kinds of wisdom of warmth in the merit accumulation path and the path of preliminary practice. Warmth arising not according to this Or if it is not strong, then just let it be. Most people hearing or reading this excerpt would have a huge headache. Why? Because what the heck are they talking about? It's impossible to understand what they're talking about here. What is this? What is warmth? Warmth, the feeling of warmth. The Chinese character with the fire radical. Warmth. I just read this excerpt. If I did not have understanding about this, I would not have been able to explain anything. Many doctorates reading Lamdre, and just this excerpt, they don't even know what this is about. You cannot guess. So it's divided into small, medium, and large. What is this warmth? What does it mean? We can say the greatest one is the inner fire, tumo. The small one is the vital energy of spiritual cultivation. In your spiritual cultivation, things that just arise is a small warmth, medium warmth, and large warmth. What's being talked about here? Preliminary practice, the warmth of wisdom. So the generation of wisdom, the rising of wisdom is just like the arising of fire, inner fire. Let's use an analogy. You lit a candle and it gives light. And this light symbolizes wisdom. Today you perform homa and the fire rises. It gives heat and there's offering, merit accumulation and preliminary practices all in there. And the fire is greater than the flame of the candle. That's medium warmth. Homa fire is medium warmth. And lastly, when the homa fire becomes the fire inside your body, at that moment, the inner fire inside your body has arisen. Then that's considered the large warmth. One is a candle, small warmth. Homa, that's the medium warmth. And inner fire, that's the large warmth. So, this to symbolize the gradual increase of your wisdom. This symbolizes the gradual increase of wisdom. This is not easy to explain. However, what I am telling you today, if discernment easily generated, that's small. And the assimilated warmth of the accumulation of the 9 areas. So if you focus the flame of the candle, that's medium. And the accumulated warmth due to increase of light drops, that's the large warmth. So if you have ignited your inner fire, that's large. And Homa fire is medium. And the flame of the candle is small. And based on the above three, the spiritual experiences of the warm phenomena are strengthened. So, at the basic position, the spiritual experience of the dual execution of visualizing and stopping. So, what is visualizing and what is stopping? Because you have to meditate. You have to master your meditation. And what's that? And you use visualization and stopping it. So the myriad, many thoughts become one thought, and one thought becomes no thought, which means you stop your thoughts. And then when you cannot stop your thoughts, you go back to one, which is visualization. So, if you want to train in meditation, someone asks about no thought. Grandmaster said, has no thought. No thought is the true Buddha treasure. But how could you be in a state of no thought? You have numerous thoughts. As soon as you get up in the morning, there are many thoughts running in your mind. In a day, you have thousands, tens of thousands of thoughts. How can you be no thought? But you want to focus it using the tantric practices. Why? So you visualize the face of your yidam, then you focus them into one. And then when you forget that one, you reach the no thought. And that's the power of your meditation. That's your mastery of your meditation. Once you can master your meditation, then you have spiritual experiences. It talks about spiritual experiences here. So what is no thought? So you have no thought whatsoever. That's the stopping. However, when you cannot stop, you have to visualize first. Like I said, you lit an incense and it's really dark in the room, and you focus on the burning red light on the incense stick. That's one thought. That's visualizing. And then you transform this one thought into nothing. That's no thought. To become no thought. When a human being is totally unaffected by thoughts, that's meditation. So that's from small, medium, and large. You do it this way. Dual education of visualizing and stopping exceeds a period of one sitting. How long can you sit? How long can you be in no thought? For 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour? That's already very good. If you can be no thought for 1 minute, that's already not bad. 5 minutes, gradually you increase to half an hour, that's already very good. And if you do your Dharma practice for 1 hour and you can be no thought for 1 hour, that's already very incredible. And you use the method of the dual execution of visualizing and stopping for 1 hour. That's already quite incredible. You're totally unaffected by the outer environment. You're totally unaffected by your thoughts. Nothing will block you, will obstruct you or hinder you. So the no thought is very strong. Then you have entered into the initial accumulation period, and you have the wisdom of the small warmth of the path of preliminary practice. So in the middling accumulation period, all the warmth generated is medium. Its scene or circumstance is strong and can stop all the external and internal critters. What are the critters? The critters are actually the obstacles, the hindrances, your karma. So you stop the outer karma, your inner karma, and yet they write it as critters. Critters inside the body. Actually, these critters mean karma. So you stop the karma of the outer hindrances and your own karma inside. And yet they write critters. But are there critters inside our body? Yes. Our body is filled with critters. Sakyamuni Buddha said, what is our body? It's like a storage of critters. Like a warehouse or storehouse of critters. That's what human life is. That's why they wrote critters here. Then you can stop all the external hindrances, internal hindrances. Then you will not fall into the three lower realms. Then at this time, you don't fall into the three lower realms of hungry ghosts, animals, and hells. And in the sutras, it's considered that this is the middling position of the non-arising endurance. Not the true one, but just the medium, the mediocre one. And during the latter accumulation period, all the warmth generated is large. By the three starts of affinity of the area ambrosia, everything that is arisen follows the sixth natural mindfulness. It is regarded as the start of affinity to see the transformation body and definitely promote the main goal. The above is the three kinds of wisdom of worth in the merit, accumulation path and path of preliminary practice. Warmth arisen not according to this, or if it is not strong, then just let it be. So even when you have not reached such realms or such states, you should still be at ease and just be natural. That's lastly, just let it be. And then, when the inner fire rises, then the radiance of your whole body will be generated. That's considered in the latter accumulation period. It is extremely difficult to explain this excerpt. Even if you just ask a typical doctorate to explain it, it will be very difficult for them. However, Grandmaster has explained it a little bit using an analogy. The generation of wisdom is like the light, the flame of a candle, the light of the Homa fire, and the light of the inner fire, or tumo, to symbolize the generation of wisdom. And then you enter into meditation, the myriad thoughts to become one thought, and from one thought to become no thought. When you cannot hold it in zero, then you return to one. The one thought and then go back again to 0. And when you cannot hold, you cannot stop the thoughts, then you go back to 1. In one sitting, if you can maintain the 0 in one sitting, that's completely incredible. That's incredible. Then you can eradicate all the outer and inner karma. So in our practice of meditation, if you can maintain at 0 for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, that means you're gradually increasing your state of no thought. That's your mastery of meditation. Then you would be able to attain the non-arising endurance dharma, which is bodhisattvahood at the 8th ground, the 8th ground of bodhisattvahood, 无生法忍. This is close to Lamdre. People with people with large face have better temper because when they want to betray you, it takes a longer time. 无生法忍 Anupatika Dharma Santi. You know, some people are very small-minded. People with small eyes and small nose. But Grandmaster also has small eyes. However, Grandmaster has great eyesight. Grandmaster is not small-minded at all. The wife said, "Honey, I just took my bridal gown from 10 years ago and it still fit. Wow, I'm so happy." You know, she's wearing the bridal gown from 10 years ago and still fit. And the husband replied, "Hey, honey, did you forget that when we were married, you were 9 months pregnant?" So this is cause and effect. That's the inner wisdom. So this excerpt of Lamdre that we just talked about, that's the inner wisdom. And because there's the cause, that's why you can have the wisdom, then you can generate the warmth. The husband told the wife, "Honey, every time you wear stockings, I have a feeling I cannot describe." So the wife was very happy and asked, "So what kind of feeling was that?" The husband replied, "It's like the radish in a saran wrap." That's not a praise. The other day was 2020-520, which is 2020, May 20th. In Chinese, it sounds like love you, I love you. But 521 is also not bad, which in Chinese play of word is I wish. But what I like even more is 522, which sounds like I am hungry. And today is 524, which means I am so hungry.
524是我20。
是，That's even better.
我讲524。
524. Then you have to treat me to dinner.
524是我20，那你一定要请师尊吃饭。
So if I say 524, you have to invite me for dinner.
老师问。
Because that means I'm really hungry. The teacher asked Xiaoming,
睡觉的缺点了吗？
do you know what is the fault of falling asleep in school class? And Xiaoming replied, yes. And the teacher asked, so what is the fault of sleeping in class? So it's not as good as sleeping in bed. That's joke. So today, the excerpt on Lamdre is very important. But if you read it by yourself, can you understand? You can only understand clearly after Grandmaster's explanation. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.